And here we go. The Browns schedule is out. We are going to pick games. We're going to talk about every single game on the schedule. We're going to power rank the games. But first, I just want to get your initial reactions when you saw the schedule. Mary Kay, what was your first thought when you saw the Browns schedule?
My first thought was that they only have 2 guaranteed primetime games, despite the fact that they have Deshaun Watson here in Cleveland. I really thought that there would be more primetime games, but I guess the NFL schedule makers are going to make the Cleveland Browns and Deshaun Watson earn it and prove it. They can get more primetime games later in the season, in week 15 and week 18, possibly. But to give them only 2 night games at the beginning, I was very surprised about that.
So I guess I would ask this question, Scott, is it despite Deshaun Watson, or is it because of Deshaun Watson? A part of me feels like maybe the NFL doesn't want to showcase Deshaun Watson too much, especially early in the season, because, do you want Joe Buck and Troy Aikman sitting there talking about 22 civil lawsuits?
Yeah, and I think you also don't want to put the Browns on prime time if you're not really sure if he's going to be playing as well. I think maybe the league learned something from 2019. Was that, I think they had 5. Didn't they have 5 primetime games after Odell showed up? And I think the Browns are on a perpetual prove it, deal here with the league and schedule makers for a while. But I think some of it has to do with maybe not so much they don't want to showcase him. It's that you don't want Jacoby Brissett Browns versus somebody and for it to be a clunker potentially.
Ashley, what were your initial thoughts?
So besides that, I would say I just noticed immediately how we talked about they like to backload the division now, and they kind of did that, right? Like 3 of their last 5 games are division games, but they also have 3 division games in their first 8 games. So it's totally different from last year. And then in line with that, they're home a lot in the first half of the season, and they only have 3 home games in the second half of the season. So that to me was interesting, the layout. It just feels very different from last season when, again, they played all of their division games week 8 and onward.
We'll get to this one, but January 1st in Washington is really weird.
So weird.
That's, I mean, nobody wants to go to that stadium anyway, but going there on January 1st when you should be playing a division team is just, I don't get it. It's wonky. All right, we're going to talk through all the games. Anything else anybody had though before we get to that that stood out to you, Mary Kay? Did you have something else?
Yeah, I just wanted to mention that I think we were all wondering how the league would place those first 4 to 6 games, depending on whether or not Deshaun Watson is going to be suspended. Would that have any impact? And if I didn't know any better, I would have thought that they went easy on the Browns in the first 4 games of the season for the most part, because you start out at Carolina. They went 5-12 last year. Then you come home against the New York Jets. They're much better this year. The New York Jets are, but they still have Zach Wilson as their quarterback. They went 4-13. You've got Pittsburgh Steelers for the first time without Ben Roethlisberger. Kenny Pickett might be starting that game, the rookie, and then you go to the Atlanta Falcons with no Matty Ryan, and Marcus Mariota might be starting that game. So those first 4 games, even if Jacoby Brissett is starting for the Cleveland Browns, look very winnable to me.
Yeah, I had to look it up. The Browns have not gone 4-0 since 1979. Been a while.
Wow.
Oh boy, we're already talking 4-0 here. On
the pins are set up. They got to knock them down.
I will say I don't know that the schedule indicates the length of the suspension, but I do think the schedule maybe acknowledges that there could be a suspension, and they're going to just hedge a little bit just in case a suspension does come down.